Okay, so here we go. We are going to make our flower. We're going to start out, we're going to make a ball. Okay, that's going to be the center of our flower. So we're going to stay in the Sudac tab, and we're going to make sure we're in mouse mode the whole time. So action center mouse. All right, so to start out, on the left-hand toolbar, you find unit box. We're going to hit unit box. We're going to subpatch it, and we're going to subdivide it. Metaform, okay. All right, so there we go. Part one is done. That's going to be the center of our flower. Let's just make all the parts now, and then we'll go back and we'll resurface them, okay? So there we go. Part one is done. New layer. Let's go ahead and make the petal this time. So unit box, subpatch, subdivide, okay. All right, so far it's another ball, but we need to do something with this. We need to modify it, all right? So again, under the Sudac tab, I want you to find the stretch command. That's what we're going to use. I guess we'll stay in poly mode, and I'm going to be in the top window. I'm going to lasso select these bottom polygons right here. You can see. And then I'm going to jump over to stretch or hit H on your keyboard for your shortcut. And you're going to stay in the top window. You're going to put your cursor right in the middle of your selection, and you're going to click, and you're going to pull down to make this narrow. And then you're going to kind of push it back a little bit. All right, so you can see this. It looks like a teardrop. Looks pretty good. But you're going to see when I look in the perspective window, it doesn't look so good. So it looks good from the top, but if I go down to the back in the right view, it doesn't look so good. So we're going to hit our space bar to drop our tool. We're going to deselect by clicking in the lower left-hand corner. I'm going to hit H for stretch. I'm going to put my cursor in the back window right in the middle of the shape. I'm going to click, and I'm going to pull down towards my body, and you're going to see this is flattening out that shape, okay? So you can just stretch it to make it look like you want. If I come back in the perspective window and just hold down Alt and orbit, it looks pretty good. That's the shape that I want. Now, I want to be able to bend this, okay? I want it to be able to move a little bit, articulate, and I'll use bones for that. But in order for the bones to move points, I think we need a little more points, all right? So again, I'm going to hit my space bar. This time, I think what I'll do is in the top window, I will lasso select this top half. Okay, you can see the polygons are selected here. I'm going to stay in this window. I'm going to smooth shift, so Shift F. I'm going to just tap, and then I'm going to hit T to move, and I'm going to move this a little bit longer, and it looks pretty good. If you want, you can stretch it into any shape that you really want to, but overall, I think we're done. There we go. So spacebar to drop your tool, deselect. Let's work on the next piece. Let's go ahead and make the flower pot. All right, so the next layer, new layer. Again, Sudac tab. We are going to hit unit box, subpatch, and we're going to stop. Okay, so this is fine. The shape looks pretty good. We're going to try to make a tube from this. All right, so we're going to use this technique with the stem as well. All right, so what I need to do with this is I need more vertices. I need more points. All right, so I'm going to pop into the side window, the right window. I'm going to put my cursor right in the middle of the shape here. I'm going to click and drag through this. Okay, the important thing, guys, is that you go all the way through, because you want to make sure that you select the entire loop here. So you can see in this case, I did not. So you really want to make sure that you select the whole loop. So if you want to double check, you hold down Shift and you just keep dragging through side to side. That'll probably do the trick. But the best bet is, once you start selecting in a direction, look down at your keyboard, find the right arrow key, and just tap it once, and that'll select the loop. So again, check this out. So I deselected. I'm going to start selecting one polygon, two polygon, and if I hit that right arrow, look in the perspective window here, it's going to go ahead and select the entire loop. Okay, the key word is the entire loop has to be selected. So with that in mind, the shortcut to loop slice is L. So I'll tap L once, and you're going to see, oh, wait a minute, I messed up. So look, good point. I worked in the perspective window. It's a bad idea because you can't really tell the orientation in the perspective window. Not a big deal. I'm going to undo, so Control Z. I'm going to deselect, and I'm going to do it the right way. All right, so in the lower right-hand corner now, I'm going to click and drag through the middle of the shape. I'll hit my right arrow and I'll hit L. Much better, okay? So ignore this perspective window. You can look at it, but I don't want you to model in it. All right, so I made this new cut. If you tap your space bar once, you'll see the new points that you made. you hit it again, you'll see the edge that you created, and you hit it another time, it goes back into polygon mode. So spacebar is just tapping between your modes, okay? Polys, lines, and edges. I'm gonna go ahead and stay in edge mode. I'm gonna hit T for move, or you can go to the Sudac tab and find the move tool. And I'm going to click on this with the move tool active, and I'm gonna move this up. Guys, if you hold down control while you do this, it'll constrain this movement to make sure you just go perfectly straight. Okay, the secret here is I don't want the points right here to go past these top set of points. So I'm gonna get close, but not go all the way through. All right, so again, in my perspective window, you're gonna see here, look, the top of this is getting sharp. So the idea here is if you have points that are really close together, you're gonna get a sharper edge. All right, great, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna hit my space bar to drop the move tool. I'm gonna deselect, and now I'm gonna come down back to this window, make sure I'm in polygon mode, whoops. I'm gonna deselect those polygons. Now I'm gonna select again, right through the middle, left to right, and I'm gonna hit my right arrow just to make sure I got the whole loop, and then I'm gonna hit L, and then you're gonna see, great, I have new vertices here. So spacebar will toggle into point mode, T to move. I'm just gonna move these down, whoops, while holding down control, pull down, and now I have this shape, okay? It's like a cylinder. Looks pretty good. So spacebar to drop the tool, I'm gonna deselect those points, and I'm gonna tap to get back into poly mode, deselect there, and let's have a look at this. So it looks good. I'm gonna select the top of this, okay? Just the top, not the bottom. And I'm gonna delete it. So to delete, you look down at your keyboard and you hit the delete key. Boom, it's gone. Okay, so delete the top of that. Next, it's too thin. Remember, polygons are single-sided and they have no thickness. So we need to go ahead over to our toolbar here under the Sudac tab, look on your left and find the word thicken. Click on the button. When you hit the button, it's active. And when you hover these different windows, you hover over them, you're gonna see instructions, okay? Insert cycle algorithms, and it says if you left mouse click and drag from side to side, it'll thicken the selection. Underneath that it says once that's done, if you hit your left and right arrow keys, it'll adjust or add segments. So if I click and I drag, oh look at that, great, I get a thicker kind of shape here, looks good. And if I hit my left arrow or right arrow, you're going to see it adds loops to the top of that selection. Looks pretty good. When you're happy, you just hit enter. All right, good, that's done. So basically we're done with this. If you think it looks a little boring, I think it's a little plain. We can always go through and add more, all right? We have that basic shape. If this is hard for you, just stop there and call it a day. But if you want it to look a little bit better, why not do this? So again, we're gonna be in polygon mode. I'm gonna lasso select these top points here, and it's gonna actually grab all those polygons that are associated with those points. I'm gonna hit smooth shift, which is shift F. I'm gonna tap once, okay, whoops. See there, you can see what happened. I hit and I accidentally dragged my, my pen, and it did that. That's bad. That's because I clicked and I drug my mouse or my pen. That's not good. What you wanna do is click and release, and then jump right to stretch, okay? I'm gonna swing back in the top view here with the stretch tool active. I'm gonna put my cursor right in the middle of this selection in the top window, and I'm just gonna stretch this out a little bit. Looks pretty good. So you can see I kind of have this shape. Looks decent. Could be like a hat, or it could be a flower pot. We're gonna go with flower pot. I'm gonna keep going with this, so I'm gonna smooth shift again. You'll see my cursor changes. That's how you know you're in smooth shift mode. I'm gonna left mouse click without dragging. It doesn't matter where I do that, so I'll click. Looks good. I'm gonna hit T for move, and in these lower two windows, pick which one you like. I'm gonna move this form up. Okay, so you can see now this is looking pretty good. So again, that was all with smooth shift. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna drop the tool with my space bar. I'm gonna deselect. Okay, next, I'm gonna go ahead and make this little ridge here a little bit sharper. Okay, so to do that, I'm gonna select the loop right here. So I'm in the perspective window. I'm gonna start selecting. You're gonna see I'm going in a direction. This time, I'm just gonna hit the arrow because I know that arrow will continue to select in the loop. Looks pretty good. I'm gonna look down at my keyboard. I'm gonna hit L once, and you're gonna see, cool, I have a new loop. Okay, if I hit my space bar, you'll see, those are the new vertices that I just created. Great. I'll hit T to move, and I'm gonna come down to either the back or the right window here, and I'm gonna pull this down, And you're going to see when I do that, it makes this a lot sharper. Oops, messed that up. So no big deal. You just hit Control Z. If you mess up, you go right back. So period and comma will zoom you in. You can hold down Alt, orbit in the perspective view. This looks pretty good. All right, so I think this is done. I don't see any crazy mistakes. It does look like it's kind of low poly or like low geometry. It doesn't look great. The resolution could be a little bit higher. So to do that, no big deal. I'm going to drop my tool with the space bar. I'll deselect. Remember, guys, if you go to the Sudac tab and you hit the word subdivide, okay, what that's going to do, we'll just stick with metaform, hit OK. That's going to divide each polygon by 4. All right, so basically all you need to worry about is it's going to create a lot more vertices, and it's going to create them everywhere, and it's just going to make a better looking form. All right, so that looks pretty good. Next, we're almost done. New layer. We're going to go Sudac tab. We're going to make a unit box. We're going to hit sub patch, and then we're going to stop. All right, so here's our shape. Again, just like with the flower pot, we're going to take this and we're going to make it into a tube. So to do that, I'm going to make a long tube. So I'm going to hit my comma key, which is going to zoom me out a little bit, and I'm going to lasso select the top of this shape. Now I have points. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Points, vertices, and edges, they're all kind of connected anyway. So I'll just stick with points. It's fine. T to move. I'm going to hold down Control. I'm going to left mouse click. I'm going to pull that up. Okay, so I'm basically stretching this shape up nice and long. So it looks pretty good as far as length. The problem is there's no geometry in the middle of this shape. So what I need to do is I need to loop slice through the middle of this shape. Okay, not the top and not the bottom. And then I'll have enough vertices or points so when I put bones in this thing, it can actually articulate or move. All right, so I'm in point mode and I have my move tool active, so I'm gonna hit spacebar to drop that, and I'm gonna deselect. I'm gonna make sure I'm in poly mode, guys, so make sure you're in poly mode, and then I'm gonna left mouse click and drag through the center of this shape. Okay, I think I got it, but just in case, I'm gonna hit my right arrow. All right, so with that done, I'm gonna look down at my keyboard. I'm gonna hit L once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. How many times you hit L is up to you. Okay, just get it looking decent. Make sure you have enough little cuts here or loop slices that we can actually have enough vertices for our bones to be able to deform. And this looks pretty good. It looks a little thick to me. So to make it thinner, don't overthink it, right? We can just go to stretch, so H to stretch. I'm gonna go in this top window here. I will place my cursor in the center of this selection, and I will left mouse click, and I will kind of drag to the left, and then pull down to my stomach, and just kind of go diagonally, and you're gonna see it's gonna make this a lot kind of thinner. It looks good. All right, that looks pretty nice. So I'm pretty much done. So spacebar will drop your tool, lower left corner will deselect. So the shapes are built, all right? We have the middle of our flower, we have a petal, we have a flower pot here, and we have a stem. All right, but now what we need to do is we need to kind of surface these, and we need to set them up to make sure, like, scale-wise, everything looks pretty good. All right, and I think what I have here is decent. So I'm gonna say cool with this, and I'm just gonna go through and surface each of these. All right, as far as surfacing goes, look, colors don't matter, but you do want to make sure you assign a different surface name to each of these shapes. All right, so to do that, just click the change surface button or hit Q. This is our stem, so let's just call it stem, whatever you want, and I'm gonna click this color button and I'll pick a color. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna hit OK and hit OK, and check that out. Cool. So look, I now have a stem. It's green. Good. I'm gonna move on. Next layer. That's my pot. So I'll hit Q or I'll hit change surface. Either way, I'll be real original with this name, and I'll choose pot. Color. Oh, wait a minute. What happened? It says control is disabled. The reason it did that, and if it does it to you, it just means that this name has already been assigned. Okay, so don't worry about that. You can always just rename it. So I'll just call it pot X because I know that hasn't been used yet. So pot X is fine. I'll go ahead and I'll pick any color, hit OK, and hit OK. All right, so there we go. That worked. If you're wondering what I mean by that, if you assign a surface and you look in your tools over on the left, you'll see your surface editor. If you pop that open, just click on it. Mine's in a different window. Let me pull it back. So here it is. You'll see I haven't saved this yet, so it's called unnamed. But I already have those surfaces in there. So if I wanted to recolor them for whatever reason, I can always go here. So there's the original pot, and I could click and change the color here. But really, we're going to save the surface editor for later, so we're not going to worry about that. So if the surface is already assigned because you did it by accident, just ignore it, rename it something different, and pick a color. All right, so we'll look at the surface editor a bit later. So close that out. And moving on, this is my petal. So Q, and I'll name this one. I'll be real original here. I'll call it Ped for petal, and I'll pick a color. Again, it doesn't really matter, just as long as you can see the color works, it's fine. Avoid dark colors though, because dark colors are kind of hard to see. All right, so that looks great. Moving forward, all right, this part's going to be like the middle of our flower. Again, let's be original here. I'll just call it ball. It doesn't matter. I'll know what it is by the naming convention, and I'll pick a color to make sure it worked. Okay, okay, awesome. All right, so look, I am done. Next, we're going to go ahead and put bones in this, but just so you know, I have a ball, I have a petal, I have a pot, and I have a stem. That's great, but I never saved this. All right, so it's unnamed, and you see a little star there? That's telling you, hey, you've never saved this. So guys, you should definitely save as you go. So I didn't do that, but don't be like me. Keep saving as you go. So save object as, and I'm going to call this flower. Okay, pay attention to where you're saving things. Okay, so flower, save, looks good. It's done. I will do another video and talk about setting this up. Okay, we'll put bones in it in the other video.